Be honest, guys, if you're an introvert, and this is a question for all the introverts out there, if you could flip a switch and in an instant become extroverted, would that make your life better? Answer honestly. Would that actually make your life better? And I'm not sitting here and thinking, I know you smartasses are thinking, well, that's what alcohol does. You can just drink and then you become extroverted. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking going through life, and when the situation requires it, you could become an extrovert for that period of time. And then back when you're at home or you're by yourself, you go back into your introverted moment or person. And so this is actually what I'm going to talk about in this video, because I'm someone that's an introvert and I've always been an introvert. And maybe you guys who have watched my channel for a bit, you're like, there's no way this guy's an introvert. Why am I saying that? Because so many people have told me that, and that's after they've only met the extroverted side of me that I've literally unlocked through, well, we're going to get to that. But when I would tell people like, oh yeah, I'm an introvert too, they'll be like, haha, yeah, shut the fuck up. There's no way. There's no way. You are the most extroverted person I know. The way, and so on. And I'm not saying this to glaze myself. I'm saying this because it is genuinely a compliment to me when someone says, I am extroverted. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I am actually not. Yeah, I may be speaking to the camera and it could be 5 people probably watching this or maybe 10 people. But to be honest with you guys, it wasn't always like this. And if you can relate, this video is for pretty much introverts only. So if you're not introverted, you don't have to watch this, click off. And you'll relate to me if you went to school and you remember when the teacher asks a question. This was me, right? Quiet kid in class, sits at the back of the class, doesn't talk to anyone, and teacher asks questions, and I always would know the answer. Always. But I would just be so scared of saying it. I don't want to raise my hand. And some dumbass kid, the Chad, or the person who was the loudest in the class, we all had that guy in the class, he would blurt out the answer, and it would be wrong most of the time, and the teacher would be like, oh, all right, now let's get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard. That's actually a South Park reference for those of you guys who don't know. I don't know, maybe I'm too old for this shit, because that's... Anyway. The point is, if you ever try to answer, I'll be honest, I raise my hand, answer the question. Yes, Maxim. Go ahead, tell us the answer. And then I'll stumble, I'll say something, it'll come out wrong, I'll have a voice crack, and I'll be like, oh my god, why did I raise my hand? This is so embarrassing. And I would never do that again. Or the fear of being misunderstood, right? When you're talking to someone who easily holds the frame of the conversation, and you're just like, they take something you said at face value, but it came out wrong, and then you can't even correct yourself. You don't have the balls to be like, no, that's not what I meant. This is actually what I meant. No, you just let them believe that, and you're like, oh, that's so embarrassing. And then you go home and you're like, nah, people are going to think this about me. I don't know. There's just been so many moments like that. And I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities. Despite my experience being in university, high school, classic, doing the parties and stuff, I feel like I missed out so many opportunities because I could have been the guy who talked more, who put my ideas forward. And the most shameful thing for me to admit is that I was just too pussy to speak up. That's it. I just had no confidence in my communication skills, and unless I was alone or talking to a very close friend where I'd be unfiltered, but to just speak up and say something and put my mind forward, I would never. I would always just listen to somebody else's stupid ideas and think, oh my god, this guy's such a dumbass. I have 10 times the ideas in here, but I just can't say it. So who do people listen to? The loudmouth. And that's how the world works. Whoever is the most confident, whoever speaks the loudest, even if it's a complete dumbass. And I just thought it's so unfair how, why are the people who are the loudest, they get rewarded? Like, they're the guys who get the girls. You may be sitting here like, I'm smarter, I do this and that, I would treat her better, whatever, whatever we thought in high school. But the dumbest kids, those chads that had the worst grades, they always got the girls. How? Right? I just thought it's such a loss of opportunity. And it's to a degree that when I was in uni, I remember, and I was at a couple of frat parties, I remember like having obviously opportunity to talk to the girls there, and I'd be silent the whole time. I would just listen to a conversation and like an absolute dumbass just nod as if I'm part of it, like, yeah, like just agreeing with whatever the other guy's saying. And the other guys are trying to flirt and they're going back and forth, and I'm just kind of standing there like, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, okay. Like, what? And it got to a point where I heard this many times, where some girls that, I mean, it only makes sense to me now, that were interested in me because I still took care of myself. I wasn't that bad looking, but I just didn't say anything. They would tell me, you should talk. Like, you should talk more. And I never thought of it as a problem. I was like, well, I have nothing to say. And it's true. My mind would go blank. I had nothing to say. In the moment that I was asked to say something, it would just go blank. I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to contribute to the conversation. But when someone's talking, I am generating a million ideas what I want to say. And that's the thing. And I know this is how a lot of our minds work, especially as introverts, or maybe we're into stuff that we think other people think are weird. Like what? Like anime. Bro, I literally have the Uchiha symbol from Naruto in my room. Like, and they call this guy an extrovert. And yeah, maybe some guys are, who watch anime are actually extroverted, but most are not. Most are just like basement virgins, or that weird stereotype. But it's just unbelievable, the loss of opportunity, and it really sucks because when I actually unlocked that side of me, and it's not unlocked, it's not like a snap of the fingers. It's not like one day I woke up and I was like, that's it, I'm gonna start talking to people, I'm gonna start training. That's not even, that's funny, that sounds funny, that's not even how it went. And it took a lot of time, but the point is, I wondered immediately, how did I make it this far? And by far, I didn't mean like far somewhere in life. I'm saying, how did I survive to this age? And I'm 26 now, and I was like, how did I survive to this age having zero communication skills, like straight up speech zero? And I just realized, as introverts, we often cope with the fact that we don't really need to talk to anyone. We just figure out our own solutions. And that in and of itself is a good skill to have, to be able to be self-reliant and solve your own problems. So that part is good. That independence part, that's good. But it's often too much where we end up shooting ourselves in our own dick, like just stepping on our own feet. You know what I mean? Because something that's way easier done through another human, meaning you employ someone, not employ as in hiring someone for work. I'm saying employ someone as in getting somebody to help you. We often find our own solution, and this could be something as simple as going to the store. And this is actually, my friend and I, we grew up together, and he was the extrovert, I was the introvert. And let's say we're going to a store, we're looking for something and we can't find it. The last thing my mind would think of is, all right, let's ask the cashier. Let's ask somebody who works. I would never. Why the fuck would I go up and ask someone? I'll just roam around the store for an extra 30 minutes, check every aisle thoroughly, and try to find what I'm looking for. And that item may or may not be there still. And my friend would always go, dude, let's just ask someone. And that was so easy for him. I mean, I don't know, like, why would you ask someone? It just doesn't make sense. But looking at it from efficiency standpoint, or just going through life, isn't it a lot faster to just walk in the store, ask what you need, and get out of there? Because you're there just to get the thing. What's the whole point in roaming the entire store and trying to like figure it out yourself. You know, it's actually something I've been told so much in my life that I should ask for help a lot more. I'm still told this to this day. I'm taking drugs. I'm taking drugs, guys. No, actually, seriously. I'm taking vitamin D. If you're in Canada, we actually don't get, it's a complete side note, bonus info insight. In Canada, I've never seen vitamin D pillies that are more than even 2,000 units, and we need more than like 10,000. This is not doctor advice. I'm just saying we all need like more than 10,000 units per day. And I got these from the US because they sell 5,000 and 10,000 at once. I don't know, I just thought it's cool because we're kind of getting ripped off here for the doses that were... I'm not trying to take a handful of pills, you know what I mean? Like, just to get my daily dose, because the sun's not enough, I'm not strong enough. But, yeah, so, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's a waste. Honestly, it's a waste. Whether you're talking about girls and you want to get more girls, you want to get yourself out there, you want to put yourself first in opportunities in a job. Like, I was never bad at job interviews. Like, if I'm going to an interview to try to get a job, you know, I was able to convey somehow that I'm a reliable person because I took it seriously, but that's about it. I couldn't actually sell myself. Not like that one asshole who you'll sit down to. If you guys ever did an interview like in a group style where there's more than one person and there's that one asshole that just keeps talking over you because he's trying to sell himself, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, I want this job because I want to make money, you know? like what even is that? You can't even answer the question properly. And the one guy who shakes the employer's hand better and smiles more and more charismatic, he's the one who gets the job. Like, it just sucks, you know? And, you know, I don't know how else to put it, but really think about that question. Would it make your lives better? Because that's something to consider, right? And funny enough, well, it's not actually funny, I'm actually building a community where I teach exactly that, where you can unlock your extroverted side. Because those of you guys who are sitting there thinking, well, no, I'm an introvert and being extroverted is just putting a mask on and it's fake, that's not actually the real me. I don't mean that. I mean you can actually build an extroverted side of you that doesn't exist yet. There's a whole personality that you haven't developed that doesn't exist yet. And I've went through it. That's why I know it's possible, because like I told you earlier, like I'm an introvert. I love alone time. I hate when I spend too much time with people, but at least I can navigate it. And yeah, if you guys want to check out the community I'm building, the link is in the description. But even besides the point, like, I'm not even trying to sit here and sell this shit to you guys. I'm saying get this through your head. Like I know exactly how we think as introverts. We're trying to always solve our own shit, get around this, and I'm going to keep repeating it. But your life will get so much better, if you could just speak the fuck up when you wanted to. You know that those ideas that sound good in your head and then you say them out loud and you feel like a complete dumbass? Imagine that you actually think something in your head, but when you say it, it comes out even better than you imagined. Your jokes hit. Whatever you thought of in your head, you're like, this is so good, right? You're that guy who walks into the room and you're loud, or you can be loud. People notice you. There's an aura, a presence. Because I know what it's like to be invisible. I was invisible. You know, you walk into a room, nobody even knows you're there. You know what it feels like, and you guys know what it feels like because introverts watching this video. When you're in class, for example, as a kid, and some people don't even notice when you're absent. They're like, "Oh, you weren't here yesterday? Huh, I didn't even notice." Like, okay, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or that's a bad thing, but you know, I know what it's like to be invisible, and part of it is nice. You know, we don't have a need to be famous. Like, we don't care that much about people knowing us or putting ourselves out there. Like, it's not for that. But when it comes to getting opportunity, you pretty much have to put yourself out there. 1 second, I'm just gonna take a handful of pills. Yeah. So, no, just let that sink in. And I strongly encourage, that's poorly said. I'm telling you right now, you need to really think about this and actually start doing something about this. And here's the worst part, or the best part. Whoever's watching this, you're probably Gen Z, because really I'm just giving this advice, or what I'm saying, I'm just talking to my younger self. Whoever, if I could sit there and see my 17-year-old self, my 18-year-old self, my 20-year-old self, I'll be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Get out there. Learn this, because you'll be further ahead in life. I'm telling you, if I developed this earlier, if I started thinking about how, hey, I should probably get better at speaking, and not just shy away. I always knew in the back of my mind, hey, this would be useless, or useless. This would be useful, but I always put it to the side, like, yeah, maybe I'll say hi to the cashier today, like some stupid thing that doesn't really make a difference, and you think that's improving you, some bullshit speaking challenge. I'm not talking about that. This is a way of life. This is like public, on camera, whatever. Boom, extroverted side out, like deployed. This is you. You have two full sides, and then I'm alone in my room. I want to play some video games. Introvert. I'm not even going to speak in the chat. I'm not going to type shit. I'm not going to talk on the microphone. Whatever. Like, I'm just going to pretend I don't, like, I'm a bot. You know what I mean? So, this is literally what I would tell myself. And right now, I'm 26, and I'd probably say it's been maybe 2 years since I've started operating at a higher level, because I have these skills now. And that's helped me to get so much further in my life. And, it's just, I'm so excited for what the future holds. Because if I can tell you that by 24, I had this down, that's late, And I wish I started earlier. And this is what a lot of people say, like, oh, well, someone can tell me as well, hey, bro, I'm 30 and I'm still just starting now. But, like, guys, you're in school. If you're watching this and you're in uni, you're in school, that is such a good time to explore, because none of this matters. None of the interactions you have matter. You can say the dumbest shit, experiment, collect data for your brain, because listen to this. If there's one thing you understand in this video, it's this. The only thing that's stopping you from whatever ideas you have in mind and conveying them as that extroverted side of you, the only thing stopping you is the lack of data for your brain. You haven't had enough interactions. I'm telling you right now, if you had, 100,000 human interactions, social interactions, you would be so much more keen. And I'm not just talking you can throw pickup lines at chicks. I'm saying when a person walks into the room, before they even speak, you know what they're thinking. You know what kind of person it is. Is it someone who's dominant in conversations? Is this a more laid-back person? From the way they walk, you read their body language. Somebody raises an eyebrow and you know what just went through their mind. That level of sensitivity, it's like having a sixth sense for the social side. Imagine having that when you're 20. You'll be an absolute beast, because the one weapon we have, and this world's moved away from physical weapons as much. Like, we don't carry swords with us. Well, we have guns. Well, that's a whole other story. But our weapon in day-to-day life is our tongue. Like, straight up, not just your vocabulary, but I'm saying your ability to navigate social situations, to go into an interaction and come out with the result that you wanted. You go into your boss and asking for a day off. Imagine walking out of that room, you got that day off. Maybe your boss is an asshole and he's like, no man, we have no cover, like, nah, you're gonna have to come in on that day. And you're like, oh, but I kind of have plans with my friends. No, I can't say that, I have to lie. So you make up a lie. Excuse me. You make up a lie so that he basically lets you off the hook. Oh, actually, I have an appointment for the doctor. That's I used to do that because I didn't know how else to put it. And the funny thing is, there's no better feeling than telling the truth for why you're doing something. in that same example, imagine going to your boss asking for a day off, and they're like, "Why?" And you're like, I have plans with my friends." And just look at them. Because you know you're coming out of that interaction with the day off approved. You know. And you know there's no way this guy can say anything to deter you from that. And it's just so great. It's like a weapon. Do you understand? You can get anything you want in this life. Your life experience would be exponentially higher if you had these skills down. The conversation skills, because communication is a big broad term. Like, we don't really know what that means. It's just like, what is communication? Oh, I can talk, I can say a sentence. No, it goes beyond that. This is where you're talking about reading people, reading their body language, tonality, framing, the control of the frame, leading someone's emotional state. You ever talk to a pissed off person? How do you de-escalate them? Just the other day, this rude ass grandma was talking to me, like looking down on me. Like she was one of those people who's very dominant in a conversation, and she thinks the world revolves around her. She's rude, she's arrogant, and I got this bitch by the balls. Like, you can stay on your own, you can lead the frame without them realizing. And then before you know it, you have the power dynamic. It's in your favor. You get what you want out of that interaction. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to convince you that... I'm trying to convince my younger self that I should have done this earlier. And, you might think, okay, fine. You've said all this stuff. Okay, cool. You're just like flexing on us at this point. All right. What did I do? What was the big change? It's gonna sound super boring, guys. This is not the answer you want, and this is not what I recommend. This is not what I suggest. This is not what I teach. And this is something nobody wants to hear about. So I'm not gonna go into detail, but I'm just gonna say one word. It's not one word, it's a phrase. Door to door. Door to door sales. That's what I did. 60 doors a day, every day, 3 fucking years. It is the hyperbolic time chamber of learning these skills. And no, I don't wish this upon anyone. I don't think you should go and do that. I think there are far better ways. I'm not going to elaborate on that topic because I know what it sounds like. When I heard some old man say, "You should do door-to-door sales. That's how I started." Oh my God. Like, you don't want to listen to that. Like, who wants to listen to that? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. So, I'm not going to sit here and promote that. I don't promote that at all. That's not... I got out of that. I'm so glad... I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. And I'm in a better place. But... that was a tough period of my life. But that's beside the point. Besides the point. You guys just can't be figuring all this shit out by yourselves, because the world is a multiplayer game. It's multiplayer. And those people, the loud guys from school who blurt out the wrong answers, they're the guys who are going to get, unfortunately, more opportunities than you if you don't step the fuck up. And most of you introverts, I know you guys are smart guys as well. Imagine what you could do if you could apply that intelligence, but externally, to like project it either onto others or project it out onto the world, into the universe. Imagine you could actually use it, not just keep it quietly with yourself and like have all the answers up here, but never actually get that opportunity because you're not promoting, you're not putting yourself forward. It's like, it's just wasted talents, it's wasted potential, I had another example I just wanted to say, but whatever. So I know this video is a little bit different because I just thought, keeping things short sometimes doesn't convey the entire message. I don't want to crop myself to a 10-minute little video. And this video, I know most people are not going to watch the full thing. Most people have already clicked off. But if you're someone that's actually still watching, then you understand the value of my message here. And I don't care if that's just one person, because as I said before in my videos, my goal, my personal goal, is if I can impact one person in the slightest bit, I did my job. Like this is just what I want. This is what makes me feel good. This is why I make these videos. This is why I feel like I have to get something off my chest, because it's almost like, when you when you find like hidden treasure and you want to show your friends, you feel like you're responsible for showing somebody else, passing it down. And I feel that I wish somebody had told me this when I was younger and passed this down to me, but I'm doing the favor back now, and I'm passing this down saying that, hey, for those of you guys who are younger, and the coolest part is you have no competition. What I mean by that is, if you're Gen Z, I am like on the cusp of Gen Z and millennial, like 1999, right? But chances are Gen Z and younger, you guys have, and I'm not sorry for saying this, but you guys have the worst social skills. You guys do realize that most of the world looks at us or looks at you like not even a human. You've probably seen online people making content, or someone who's a bit older, maybe someone who's 30, saying that Gen Z has this Gen Z face, or the Gen Z facial expression, the whole robot, or wherever. If you're working somewhere, good for you, you're working, and you have like this default response to everything, not a care in the world. And yeah, partially that's an adaptation to your environment, so that's fair enough. But now that you've heard me say this, you heard it. You can't just say, oh, well, I grew up like that. Well, no. Now somebody online, somebody out here told you that you need to take this matter into your own hands. And even people my age, like most people's skills of communicating and just understanding the real world it's not there. Because I also spent my time growing up playing video games. I also had an outdoor life as well, but I played Minecraft just like you guys. Like I played video games, online, multiplayer, single player. I talked in chats, Discord, Skype, whatever, TeamSpeak. That's what we used back then. And those things, unfortunately, don't develop your skills. You might type faster. You might be able to be very good on text. One thing that's funny is my first couple girlfriends that I had when I was in high school, or even middle school for that matter, it's anything that I would want to say that required just a little bit more volumetric balls to say, I'd say it on text. For example, in grade 7, in grade 6, I had this girl that I was dating, and she was a year older. She was in grade 7. And funny enough, I was too stupid to actually realize that we were dating. I had no idea what that meant even. But I liked her, and I was like, I wanted to make a move. Like, I wanted to give her a kiss. So my dumbass texted her while she was there. She was literally in front of me in person. I texted her, I'm gonna kiss you. Or like, can I kiss you or something? And she was like, all right. And she kind of looks up from her phone, smiles at me. And then I waited until the end of the hangout, and I gave her a peck on the cheek. And she was like, bruh. Well, back then, people didn't say bruh. But she was like, seriously, dude? That's all right. And that's just fine. Me being a little pussy back then, what can I say? But the fact that I felt more comfortable communicating over text than communicating in person, this is so underrated. Yes, the boomers, those people, they're great at this. They're good at talking. But if you, in your generation, can actually, like I'm telling you right now, you're 30 and under, straight up. If you can speak like a human being, not like the classic Gen Z dialogue. If you can speak like a human being, you can be, well spoken. people will turn heads. They will be like, who the fuck is that? You will outcompete everybody else your age just because there is no competition for you. Look at all your friends. They're probably also playing video games and they type messages or they talk on the mic. That's it. Behind a screen where you don't have to put your face or be there in person to actually defend your statements, to defend what you say, to have the balls to speak up, right? And that's the interesting thing. If you could actually do that, it's like nobody else is playing the game. It's like you're in the world with a bunch of bots. Like, you've heard everybody being called NPCs these days. Everyone's an NPC. They're just pre-programmed behavior. But I actually mean they feel like bots because you can out-talk them. You can convince them of anything you want. It's your idea. It's my way or the highway. We're going to do what I want to do. And I'm sure you don't have to not take other people's interests into consideration. You don't have to be super selfish. You can be if you want to, but if it's your friends and you want to make plans together, great. But the point is, unlike going to a job interview where some boomer is interviewing you and you have to like compete with him and match his energy and be there and to really get the job, these people are basically brain dead. And I know every generation says this about the previous generation, how these people are actually brain dead. I shit you not, they are. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to think. They look at you like, I don't know, 15-year-old kid. I'm just like, is this guy brain dead? Mom, food. Like, bro, are you Cartman playing Warcraft trying to have your mom bring you the toilet? Like, what is going on? Can't speak, stupid demands, parents being overly protective, overly caring, not giving independence to their kids. Yeah, we all see that it's changing and you're the product of your environment, fair enough, but that doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to continue. And if I haven't convinced you by now, if I haven't even at least made you think that, hey, maybe, just maybe, if I actually learned to... My girlfriend's calling. Hello?
Are you busy?
Yeah, I'm actually recording a video right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so if after everything I've said so far, you haven't even began considering that, hey, yeah, maybe I should actually look into doing something with my life. And what I mean with your life is at least get a couple, max out your skill tree, or forget maxing out your skill tree. Just pump a couple, put some upgrade points into some of these skills and your life experience, life quality. I'm not saying you're gonna drive a supercar tomorrow. No, I'm saying you will have a better experience in life just by being capable of using your tongue as a weapon. If you don't even consider this after everything I've told you, then sorry to say this. I'm not sorry to say this. You are doomed. Like, you are too far gone. Like, you're absolutely doomed. And you will be stepped on by people like me or by people who are choosing to listen to me or choosing to actually go out and learn some skills to become a basic human being, because these days we have to actually learn skills to become basic human beings. Boomers, older generations, this came with just living in the environment. Our environment now doesn't suffice. The online world doesn't teach us to talk, and no amount of videos you're going to watch is going to get you better at talking. The only thing that will is giving your brain more data. And data is collected through more human-to-human interaction in person. And this is the mindset you need to have when you're trying to have an interaction, that it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. The person is going to forget what you said to them in the next 5 seconds. Think about it right now. Anybody that has spoken to you, Do you remember what they said? Even if you do you care what they said? No, you don't care. You're just awfully critical of your own self, of what you say, how you sound. That didn't come out right, that came out wrong. Well, do 100,000 reps. Every opportunity you have, use it. And I don't mean you're working at fast food like I did and I thought I'm training my communication skills. When I was working at Subway selling sandwiches, person would come in, I'd be like, "Hello, what can I get for you?" "All right. Would you like to make it a combo?" "Okay, it's going to be 19.95." That's it. That's not communication skills. That's just something you've learned to say on repeat. This is useless. You know what I mean? Communication skills are improvised. They're on the go. They're live. Live, real time data or something that you're doing in the moment. Your brain reads the situation, you respond. And this is something a lot of us don't have. I didn't have this. I didn't know how to do this because when someone would be in front of me, it's almost like my mind would go blank. I'm not sure if this was just me being intimidated by someone else's higher aura or higher presence. It's like they were a higher level, and I just felt like I forgot what I wanted to say, or I suddenly had nothing to say, or I would just shut down the conversation and not pursue. I wouldn't shoot back anything if I disagreed, right? And I know you know what I mean because I know a lot of you guys would also understand that feeling that when someone's presence is there, you can't really think. Your brain just kind of goes into this mental block state. It just goes blank, and you're just responding on autopilot. And all of your responses are a path to leaving discomfort because you're uncomfortable in the interaction. You want it to end. And your mind does this subconsciously. You're just going to try to close the conversation as fast as possible, not keep it running. But what if I told you, try to keep it running? Someone says something, you should back. Someone says, "Hey, how are you?" You can give them a generic response. You don't have to. You can be like, "I'm good. How are you?" All right, that's just a normal thing to say. But imagine you keep it further. Some people who like to talk, this is old people. Old people are really good at this. They'll just start talking to you for no reason. Anywhere you are. You'll be in line at the cash, and some old guy's like, "The rains have been terrible this year, right? It's always cloudy." And, I would usually go like, "Yeah." That's it. Try to say something back. Improvise. Don't just be like, "Yeah," don't just agree. Say something new or lead with another question. I'm giving you guys free value. This is actually how it's done on a daily basis. The old grandpa at the store commented on the weather, so you should back and say, "Hey, well, this is good for the crops, don't you think? What about all the farmers out there?" Just say anything. Anything that gets the conversation going. You'll see how soon enough it's going to jump back and forth, and you'll be able to open up more quickly with people. Because right now, the only people you can open up with are your closest friends or the friends that you don't no longer consider as a stranger. But the hardest time to open up is with strangers, somebody you don't know, who you're kind of standoffish and you have this invisible shield in front of you. And and they also have that shield, and you just don't actually speak truth. Your conversation is not meaningful. It doesn't lead anywhere because you're just saying things to get away from the interaction. So it's just like that. And funny thing is, actually, in my community, I literally just made a module on how to break someone's shield. I called it Shield Breaker. This is basically when you knock down someone's defense wall to have any kind of meaningful conversation, because everything a person is telling you when you first meet them is complete garbage. And I'll share even a quick story. When I met this one girl, and I met her in a coffee shop, and the first thing we did was go and order coffee. I ordered black coffee, but she also ordered black coffee. I know there's no bitch out there, not a single girl likes to drink black coffee. I mean, sure, maybe there are some outliers, but not the kind of girls I date. They don't drink black coffee. They'll drink their fancy ass strawberry ice matcha latte. I don't know, whatever they want to say. Some crazy spell that might summon some unknown entity. But it is just that. And she said, I'll have what you're having. I'm like, you don't want black coffee. She's like, yeah, I do, I do. I asked her like 3 times, like, are you sure? You can order something else. And anyway, got her black coffee. 10 minutes into the conversation, after her shield was knocked down, she's like, I'll be honest with you, I fucking hate black coffee and I cannot drink this. So the question is, well, why was she lying in the first place then? Is she a liar? No, it turns out her guard was up, and she was not thinking. She was intimidated by another presence, a new stranger, a man standing there telling her, order a drink. She's thinking, what is he going to think of me? I'm just going to fit into his frame. I'll just order what he has, because that's the, he set the standard for, that's the socially accepted thing to order right now, in this moment. So, all these things are going through her mind. She's not actually sharing with you an actual thought out opinion, something that's true. So all these shields are pointless. But anyway, as I was saying, I teach all this shit in my school, and I'm building this right now. And you guys can actually request modules as well, because as I'm building this, I'm open to teaching the exact things that you guys want to learn specifically. And anyway, back to what I was saying. Go and try to prolong conversations. I'm telling you, go and do this. Like, actually go and do it. Next time you're at the store, I don't know what you fuckers do. Like, what do? You go to school? Do you go to school? If you're at school, raise your hand and ask the professor a stupid question. Just do it. The dumber the question, the more points you get. Because guess what? That teaches you. Well, not only you will stand out immediately among the rest of the boring questions, you will gain charisma stat. Yes, you will eventually be able to say things that are stupid, but eventually it turns into like a joke. You'll be able to say things confidently and make jokes out loud, not just in your mind, and for the jokes to hit. You don't have to be some kind of super funny guy. I'm just saying that makes you more charismatic and such. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm done for now. I think I got off my chest what I wanted to. I think someone who's younger than me, or who just doesn't have these skills right now, and who is actually struggling or doesn't even realize that they could have it way better, I think that I did my part in this video. Thanks for watching.